Gifts and Awards first video here, and today we're going to do bell engraving. Okay, this is going to get a little bit noisy. This is set up with a rotary cutter, and what I'm going to do is be very careful because the engraving here is not level, and I'm going to, as you can see, press down my left hand to give depth to the rotary cutter. Trying to make a uniform mark in the metal, which again, as I mentioned, is difficult as the item in question, this part of it, is not a flat surface. So there's a close-up. You can see the black writing previously is where it was engraved before it came to us. Probably not quite deep enough to take a deep paint fill. See, that's the brass engraved towards the bottom all the way around the rotary cutter, as I mentioned, and now I'm going to fill it with paint. So giving you a close-up there, this is actually very tricky to fill with paint because I can't really get the brass bell to be on a level surface. So I think what I'm going to do is fill a bit of this as I go, and then keep moving the brass bell around, if you like. So I've always got a flat area, because what will happen here is the paint is going to run if it's not on a level. So I'm just going to keep filling this part of it, and then maybe leave it half an hour or so to dry, ideally outside in the sun. So we've used a rotary cutter, as I mentioned earlier. If we used a normal diamond etcher or engraver, it wouldn't have created the depth I've required to fill it with the paint. So that wouldn't have done me any use, if you like, although we would have made a mark. We wouldn't have made such a deep mark again that would have been able me to paint over the top of it, or paint into the grooves of the lettering I've created with that deep rotary cutter I showed you a minute ago. It's actually very difficult to get all the paint, or to not spill some of the paint on the extremities of the letters there, but that doesn't matter too much, because after the paint is dried we can rub over it with a fine Brasso cleaner, and that'll remove any blemishes, if you like, to my painting. Very, very difficult to keep a steady hand here, as you can see, and the brass bell is moving at the same time. But anyway, I think you get the point there, and hi there. So I've completed the painting, and this part I've actually rubbed off with a metal wadding Brasso. The last bit I've left just to show you what I'm doing. So you can see that the standard of the painting's not great. It doesn't need to be, actually, and I've made it look worse than I would normally have done, just to show you the effect. So if I get a bit of Brasso, and it's best to show you this on the video, there you go, just get a bit of that, say the size of a thumbnail, and all I'm going to do is rub that aggressively backwards and forwards over the painted area. Of course, the paint inside the letters should reside and stay exactly where it is. So we're just obviously trying to get rid of the paint that's appearing outside of the letters. Anyway, I think you get the gist of that. I'll show you again when I've finished. Okay, there we go. So the Brasso leaves quite a messy stain, and we find just rubbing it with a bit of kitchen roll, there you go, is most effective. This is the blue colour to come out really well, so I can probably avoid doing that. And the last thing to mention, if some of the paint had come out of these lettered areas, you could just literally have a little bit of paint on that paintbrush and fill it with a steady hand. But actually this one has come out really well, and I don't think I'll be repainting any of it. Happy days.